Welcome back to my game 2 of my top 4 round at the mid-season showdown in Midlothian last Saturday. So after the first game with the Raichu Yveltal lead and how horribly I played it, I was very worried about it. So I'm pretty sure I decided to lead. I realized I had a good matchup against his Yveltal Raichu lead. If he led, he's probably gonna lead Raichu, and anything else next to Raichu besides Groudon, I pretty much have a good lead with my Groudon. So I decide that I'll bring my Groudon out, and I'll leave with Salamence to get a nice Intimidate, or just in case he brings his Groudon, or if he brings his Raichu, it helps. So I do that, and then of course I bring Ferrothorn, because Ferrothorn is the MVP, and if you don't bring Ferrothorn in this metagame, there's something wrong with you. And then I bring Kyogre because Kyogre, of course, improves the matchup against his Groudon, and he goes with a lead that I honestly was not suspecting, which you will see in a second. Alright. Jackson is issuing a challenge. So here comes my Groudon Salamence, my purty little Groudon Salamence. He leads Raichu and Gengar, so I am confused. So at this point, when I see that, I'm thinking to myself, this has got to be Mega Gengar. There is no reason to bring this thing like this with Fake Out support unless it's Mega Gengar. And because it's Mega Gengar, I have a few thoughts. My first thought is of course Perish Song, which I don't think is a good option for him because he's got his quote-unquote Mega Gengar and Raichu against my Groudon, which can just Precipice Blades to destroy both of those things. And I've got my Salamence in here, so I'm worried about Perish Song. I'm also worried about Disable, but not as much as everything else. But the other thing I'm worried about, and I'm only worried about it because of my match with Danny earlier, is I'm honestly worried about Hidden Power Ice on the Gengar, because people like to do that to be cheeky. So I decide Salamence isn't in the best position here. I'm not falling for another feint. So I switch it out into Ferrothorn, and I think I go for a Swords Dance with Groudon. I'm pretty sure I go for a Swords Dance with Groudon because I realize his Gengar can't touch me. It probably has Sludge Bomb for Xerneas, and it's probably its only attacking move, and Sludge Bomb does nothing to Groudon. And the Raichu can't do anything to Groudon in terms of damage. So I figure a Swords Dance here is a pretty good option. So I withdraw Salamence, which brings in my Ferrothorn, because Ferrothorn is pretty and I like it. And it ends up being Mega Gengar like I thought. So instincts were good today at this tournament. My instincts were very good at this tournament today. Not today, well, that day, whatever. So he fakes out actually into Groudon, which is good for him because I went for a Swords Dance, and he decides to launch off Hidden Power. So I was absolutely right to switch out there. So I get the Leftovers Recovery onto Ferrothorn. So basically that was essentially a free switch. And so now I really don't know what he's going to do. I figure he might want to protect Gengar, and I thought, okay, well, I don't want to go for a Swords Dance again. I really want to get some damage off. And he's probably going to want to switch something in for the Ferrothorn, or switch Raichu out into something else for the Ferrothorn, like maybe Yveltal, because Yveltal can handle it pretty well, and it would not be affected by Precipice Blades. But I decide that if he leaves either one in, and I can just snag a quick KO with a Precipice Blades, that would be great. And at this point, I'm up one game, so I have a little bit of leeway to make this kind of play. And I'm pretty sure I decide that, okay, if he protects with Gengar and switches out, Ferrothorn I can get a free substitute up. If he doesn't do either of those things, he really can't do a whole lot of damage to Ferrothorn anyways. I can get a substitute up, and then if he tries to go after Ferrothorn for whatever reason, and I don't miss my Precipice Blades, I can knock out both of his Pokemon right here. So I just go for a Precipice Blades and a substitute. He does protect the Gengar, which is expected. It's not that bad for me. And he goes for a Volt Tackle onto Ferrothorn, and I'm not sure why. It really doesn't do any damage. It breaks a possible Focus Sash, but I assume from that damage it was Zap Plate. I don't know what that was about, but I'm honestly okay with it because Precipice Blades connects with the Raichu, which is good, because now my Kyogre has a much easier job of this. And I get to set up my substitute, which is always nice. I love Ferrothorn behind a substitute. It is so dirty. The only thing that can really touch Ferrothorn behind a substitute is Hyper Voice or Salamence, but you can 2-hit KO it with Gyro Ball, so it's a pretty even matchup, really, especially with the Leftovers recovery. He brings in his Groudon here, and at this point, I am thinking, alright, this is probably not a good matchup, but I'm pretty sure I decide to protect Ferrothorn and then just take whatever hit he might want to launch at me. I know I can survive an Earth Power from his Groudon, and I just thought, you know what, this is a good opportunity to try and knock out the Gengar, and once the Gengar goes down, I'm free to really do whatever I want. So I'm pretty sure I just go for a Protect on Ferrothorn and a Precipice Blades with the Groudon, hoping that he'll just try and take out Ferrothorn, because Ferrothorn is kind of a problem for him. And he goes for a Hidden Power, which wouldn't have done that much damage. And actually he goes for an Eruption, so he is special. But this does a decent amount of damage for sure. But I get to go ahead and launch off my pretty little Precipice Blades. It hits both. I see that he's got some kind of investment, I think. No, actually no. I think it's just timid. I think it's just a timid Groudon based on that damage. But still, you know, I get to knock out his Gengar, and at this point, he's got his Yveltal, and I've got my Ferrothorn, and my Salamence and Kyogre. And I don't know what I do here. I'm pretty sure here I protect Groudon Leech Seed. Or no, or maybe I switch in Kyogre and Leech Seed. I really don't remember. Yeah, okay. I switch out Groudon into Kyogre? Yeah, into Kyogre, which is a fairly obvious play, and I'm thinking he'll probably Earth Power into the Kyogre, or into the Groudon slot, but it's not the worst thing in the world. It's better than letting him break the substitute on my Ferrothorn, because the substitute is what's most important here. And I go for a Leech Seed on the Yveltal, because again, like we saw in the first game, the Yveltal will do a ton of damage to itself, and Ferrothorn can just kind of sit there. He does double into that slot, which is a really good play on his part, but it does allow me to get my Leech Seed up and still have my substitute. So if he had foul played into Ferrothorn, it would have broken my sub, and then he could have just Earth Powered my Kyogre again to take it out, and Ferrothorn would have been in a much trickier position. But because he doesn't, I get to keep my sub. And now the thing here about this turn, okay, the most obvious thing in the world is for me to protect my Kyogre and attack with Ferrothorn. But there's really no reason to not do that. I don't want him to attack. I don't want him to knock out Kyogre with either of his Mons. It keeps a possible Precipice Blades, if he has it. It keeps that spread damage on Ferrothorn for 2 turns. If he wants to hit into Ferrothorn with Yveltal, he's going to take more damage from Iron Barb. So there's really no reason not to just protect Kyogre, Gyro Ball, the Yveltal, and I'm pretty sure that's what I go for. Because I've got a full health Salamence in the back, and once I take out Yveltal, Salamence wins the game. Because I can outspeed his Groudon. And then here, we find out that actually, his Groudon outspeeds his Yveltal. So the Yveltal's got some bulk, and that is timid Groudon then. It is timid max speed Groudon. That's why that Precipice Blades did so much damage. But you see how much damage he's doing to himself. And the Gyro Ball here will allow me essentially to just clean up the game. So there goes the Yveltal. And it's a beautiful thing. Ferrothorn is the MVP of this team. I love you, Ferrothorn. You're the best. And so now, really, he knows that because I have Salamence in the back, he can't win, and he forfeits. And so we've made it to the finals of this tournament. Hooray! So if you like it, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And hopefully I'll see you back tomorrow for Game 1, or what is tomorrow? Maybe not. I don't know what day it is. Yeah, I'll see you back tomorrow for the Game 1 of the finals of this Midseason Showdown.